Hey y'all. Okay, I'm sure a lot of y'all have heard about the missing woman from Colorado, Kelsey Berreth. Okay, she went missing around Thanksgiving, and her phone pinged in Idaho. She said was like 800 miles away from where she was from. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was the distance. Her phone pinged in Idaho. Okay, she was last seen on surveillance anywhere like on November 22nd. She was shopping with her daughter. But then her fiance said that he has her daughter, he has their child, and he said that she dropped, the last time he's heard from her was on the 25th of November. Okay. Now this right here was published yesterday. It says new information released on case of missing mother whose phone was last pinged in Idaho. Police released new information and a timeline Monday afternoon about a missing Colorado mother who may be in Idaho. Kelsey Berreth, 29, was last seen on surveillance cameras at a Safeway grocery store in Woodland Park, Colorado, on November 22nd at 12:27 p.m. She was shopping with her one-year-old daughter and has not been seen since. Cheryl Berreth, Berreth's mom, called police on November 25th. Officers conducted a welfare check at her home, and she, along with her purse, were missing. Woodland Park police confirmed at Monday's press conference that there were cold cinnamon rolls on the stove. Okay, so basically what they're saying is that she was making cinnamon rolls, but it looked like she was maybe in the middle of making cinnamon rolls and then just disappeared. Okay, which is not, which does show, or maybe it shows some signs that she didn't just decide to leave on her own, because she would have put the cinnamon rolls away. Okay, the same day, officers conducted the welfare check. Vera's cell phone was pinged near Gooding at 5:13 p.m., over 800 miles from her home in Colorado. Steve Van Denter, a Verizon spokesman, tells East Idaho News that the ping would be accurate within a mile of the location coordinates. We are treating Kelsey's disappearance as a missing persons case at this time. We have not identified anyone as a suspect. Police contacted Berreth's fiancé, Patrick Frazee, who said Berreth dropped off their daughter at his home on November 22nd. The last time he says he heard from her was November 25th, and their child is still in his custody, according to detectives. And this is her fiance, and this is Kelsey, and this is their baby when she was a baby. Berreth worked as a flight instructor at Doss Aviation in Pueblo, Colorado. Employees told police they got a text message from her on November 25th saying she would not be in for work for the next week. Officers say there is no indication that a plane is involved in her disappearance. She is not the kind that runs off, said an emotional Sheriff Berreth during the news conference. This is completely out of character. She loves her God, her family, friends, and her job. She is reliable, considerate, and honest. Like I said, she doesn't run off and someone knows where she is at. When police were asked why Frazee was not at Monday's news conference, DeYoung said he was invited, but you would have to ask him why he is not here. DeYoung did say Frazee is being cooperative with law enforcement. Okay, so the fiancé was not at the news conference on Monday. They were wondering why, and they said that he is being cooperative. Investigators have not searched Frazee's home, and he has not been named as a suspect or person of interest. Police say Berreth and Frazee are engaged, but they have never lived together and do not share a home. Berreth is described as having brown hair, 5'3" tall, and weighs 110 pounds. She was last seen wearing a white shirt, gray sweater, blue pants, and white shoes while carrying a brown purse. The Woodland Park Police Department is working with the Teller County Sheriff's Office, the Colorado Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, local law enforcement in Gooding, and the Colorado 4th District Attorney's Office. If you have any information on Berreth's whereabouts, contact Woodland Park Police Department at 687-9262, or you can just call 911. Okay? This is just terrible, you know, and it makes you wonder, you know, what has happened to her. Okay? You know, I mean, just looking and, you know, if you want to jump and make an assumption or just, you know, kind of like your first impression does make the fiance, you know, I mean, he's the last person that supposedly talked to her, okay? They haven't seen her on any footage or anything since the 22nd. He said that she dropped their baby. He said they dropped their baby off the same day, but then he also talked to her on the 25th, okay? Not saying that he is a suspect. I mean, obviously, because the police said that he's not. But not saying that he is or that he had anything to do with it. I'm just saying that by, you know, the first impression, you know, goes to him. Okay? You know, last person to talk to her, last person to see her, but nobody else has seen her. Okay? But then you got to realize she was found, her phone pinged 800 miles away. Like, you know, 800 miles. You know, so you got to figure out, you know, 800 miles. If somebody were to drive that far and come back, that's 1,600 miles traveled. You know, so you would need to figure out how long that would take to drive that distance, okay? Because obviously she wasn't flown anywhere. Okay, so here I'm going to play this video.
Mel Luca is hiring for part-time weekend shifts starting at $13.90 an hour at our Idaho Falls Distribution Center. You won't find a better weekend job where you can earn a significant income with benefits like these. To apply, visit mellucajobs.com.
A reported cell phone ping in a small town in Idaho has police and a family on the hunt for clues in the disappearance of a 29-year-old Colorado mom. Kelsey Berreth was last seen on Thanksgiving. Surveillance video shows her at a Safeway grocery store in Woodland Park. Now, it's a couple hours south of Denver. And 3 days later, when she hadn't been heard from, police were asked to do a welfare check. Now, the East Idaho News reports that Berreth's cell phone pinged in Gooding, Idaho. That's a town about 800 miles from her home. This happened November 25th, again, 3 days after she was last seen. All this while we wait for a police news conference today, and her family continues to hold vigil, praying for any information about where she might be and if she'll come home.
Can't believe that she's missing. It breaks my heart. And I just want her to come home. If they see her anywhere, please, 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 say something.
So at least our big questions. One, what can we learn from that reported cell phone ping in Idaho? And two, what do we know about the days leading up to her disappearance? Joining me now, Eric Grossarth, reporter for the East Idaho News. What can you tell us about this cell phone ping, Eric?
Yeah, so Kelsey went missing, of course, on the 22nd, Thanksgiving morning. And her cell phone was pinged a few days later on the 25th in Gooding, Idaho, which is 700 miles roughly from her home. Now, the cell phone pings are actually really accurate. I spoke with Verizon this morning, and they said that they can get these cell phone pings where the location of the individual is within a few hundred feet. They can verify, the Woodland Park police, that the cell phone was pinged in Idaho. So we do know at some point she was here in Idaho.
We're getting reports she has family in that area. Is the family located anywhere near where the cell phone pinged?
Not exactly. The closest family that we know of is in western and eastern Washington, and the main interstate actually runs through that area roughly, but the cell phone ping was about 40 miles north of that road. So no family ties to the area. All we do know, though, is that the cell phone was pinged.
Gotcha. Okay, huge lead at this point. Eric, nice work. Eric Grossarth from the East Idaho News. We appreciate it. Let's bring in James Galliano, law enforcement analyst, retired FBI supervisory special agent. James, let's talk about this cell phone ping. As an investigator, what are you doing with that?
Signal intelligence is really important, and I'm sure, Mike, there's probably a lot of other things they're probably picking up as well. You know, we've got a large digital footprint nowadays between cell phones and laptops and easy passes and opening up, you know, any type of computer device. That's going to help investigators. But in this case, it seems like there are a lot more questions than there are answers. And I'm pretty confident that interviews are being conducted right now. And that's going to be the best part of the leads on this. A lot of times in missing person instances like this, they involve family members. Now, it could be foul play involved, but it also could be somebody that just left the area and didn't want to be found. So we know that she didn't take her vehicle. We know she didn't take her purse. A lot of confounding things, but I'm sure the criminal investigators are working really hard right now, especially since the FBI and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation are basically partnered up right now with the Woodlawn Park Police. So you've got 3 excellent agencies working on it.
Got it. So we know this about her, that Kelsey's mom of a 1-year-old, and maybe there's no way she'd leave the 1-year-old, which leads to, okay, who's the father of the baby? That's got to be one of your first interviews, right?
Absolutely. We also got to take this into account, though, Mike. At any given time, there are 100,000 missing persons reporting across the United States. And I think during a given year, sometimes there are up to 700,000 people that are reported missing. Now, for the FBI to get involved in something like this, we don't work missing persons cases, but you're obviously going to provide help to law enforcement in the area. And if the family asks for help in this, and yes, to your point, usually close friends, associates, family members. Heck, in Colorado recently, the Chris Watt case was a very big case we covered where the father had something to do with it. So yes, immediate family members are certainly going to be people that we're going to want to talk to.
Got it. We know in the days leading up to her disappearance, there's surveillance video of her seen at a Safeway grocery store. What can you do with that?
Well, you know, unfortunately, not every area is Manhattan. If somebody goes missing in Manhattan, every street corner is covered by a surveillance camera, whether it belongs to the police or whether or not it belongs to just private business. Now, we're talking about areas in Colorado that are rural or suburban and places in Idaho that are pretty remote. So that's going to be pretty tough because a lot of times in urban areas, you can piece together someone who's missing, their movements over the course of a couple of days. A lot more difficult to do in rural areas.
Okay, you know, so hopefully they'll have more information soon. I hope and pray to God that she's found safe and alive. You know, that's the best outcome of any missing persons case. Now, see, there was something on here that I wanted to show y'all or point out, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something on here. Yeah. Okay, for those of y'all that don't know, I know, like I said, I know some of y'all are following this, and some are new to it. Okay, but it said that her employer received a text message from her phone, okay, from Kelsey Berreth's phone on November 25th. And that is the day that she was last, you know, that her fiance said he last spoke to her was on November 25th. And Kelsey said that she would not be at work for the following week, for a whole week. You know. So it says right here, after she went missing, she took time off. He said Berreth's fiance and the father of her child told police that he hadn't seen her since he picked up their daughter on Thanksgiving Day. Berreth and fiance did not live together. He is reportedly being cooperative in the hunt for Berreth and has custody of their child. You know, like I said, once again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but in my opinion, it sounds suspicious. You know, I mean, we see too many cases like this where the parents have arguments, you know, and you know, a lot of times it's over, you know, custody issues, you know. I mean, yeah, they were engaged, but we don't know if they had an argument, you know. Maybe everybody doesn't know that they had an argument. They could have easily had an argument. She could have, you know, threatened to take the child, you know. I mean, sometimes when men get threatened with, you know, something about the child or child support, you know, we don't know. The thing is, a lot of times this happens, you know, in these cases like this, you know, and a lot of times the other parent has something to do with it. Like I said, I'm not accusing, not saying, I'm saying how I'm looking at it. This is my interpretation of it. And I feel like something is very suspicious with the fiance, you know. I could be very wrong, but that's my personal opinion. And something just doesn't sound right. You know, I mean, she was obviously in the middle of cooking something. You know, it looks, you know, as if maybe she took the cinnamon rolls out of the oven to cool off. And then whatever happened went down immediately afterwards. Like, she didn't have a chance to do anything else. You know, so I don't know. Y'all leave your comments and feedback below. If y'all would like to send me anything, you can do so on my email, or you can add me on Facebook and send whatever you like through there. If y'all have not subscribed to my other channel, please click on the link down below. Subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Till the next time I talk to y'all, y'all have a wonderful day, and I love y'all, and say a prayer for this young lady and her family. I hope and pray to God she is found soon and safe and alive, you know. So just ask that, you know, in the meantime, that, you know, God be with her family to comfort them. I mean, this is a terrible, terrible situation, you know, and it's around the holidays. She went missing around the holidays, and it doesn't make it any easier, you know, and she does have a child. So God bless each and every one of y'all. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great day.